We live, but we ain't gotta start right now. We gotta wait till people get in.
Okay.
I should have brought my iPad.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab one of my favorite precepts. All right, Khan. Shalom. Officer Mahar. We got Officer Aharon in the cut. We got Captain DeBar. We got Soldier Zion. Of course, we're going to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, by Hashem HaMashiach Yahushua. Tonight, we're going to be going over
one person
Passover. Khan, I ain't going to go in detail or nothing right now.
Like,
you know? So, yeah. We're just going to wait for a few more people to tune in. Of course, it'll always be on the channel. I'm going to grab this precept, though. This is Sirach 43 and 30. It says, when you glorify the Lord, exalt him as much as you can, for even yet will he far exceed. And when you exalt him, put forth all your strength, and be not weary, for you can never go far enough. God. It's going to be a good lesson, Lord willing. Lord willing. Lord willing. I think instead of kicking it off with the Exodus, I think I want to read the first few verses in Leviticus.
23?
Yeah. I might write that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zion.
Gone.
Grab Leviticus 20. Hold that.
Hold that?
You said Leviticus 23 what?
Just hold Leviticus 23 right now.
Gone.
I'm going to have you start at verse 4 in a second. Is anybody in there still? It's looking a little shaky. It's kind of late, man.
What the fuck is that YouTube? 11:43. Jacob.
It should be.
I know Jacob.
Are you ready for the Passover?
She said she has so many questions. I think that's she.
I have so many questions. Oh, Lord willing, some of them questions is answered. You know? All right, we might as well kick it off.
What?
I can't contain. Hey, Zion, read Leviticus 23 and 4.
Gone. This is Leviticus chapter 23, verse 4. It says, these are the feast of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons.
Come on.
Verse 5. And the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover.
And so in Leviticus chapter 23 is proclaiming all of the respective feasts and the respective seasons that we need to keep as Israelites. Come on.
Verse 6. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread.
And so what we going over tonight, Passover, the significance of Passover, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, how to prepare for it. What is the reason why we keep in Passover? Of course, we'll roll into unleavened bread also. So that's tonight's topic. Of course, we're going to try and pull as many precepts as we can to give a better understanding of this feast day. It's not a normal feast day where you just, have a blast. It's okay to enjoy your family, the mashpachah, love each other, spend time with each other, serve the Most High God with each other. But the Passover is business. To an extent, it's business. It ain't personal. It's just business. You ready to kick it off?
Yeah.
God. So Exodus chapter 12.
God. This is Exodus chapter 12. Let me start at verse 1. This is Exodus chapter 12 and verse 1. It says, the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you.
The first month of the year to us is the month of Abib, right? And that's where we roll in the new year. And on the 14th day, we celebrate the Passover. And that is going to be the 26th of this month. Come on.
It says, speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, in the 10th day of this month, they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto him, next unto his house, take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your account for the lamb.
So all this going on, you on the 10th they tell you to take the lamb, start prepping the lamb, choose the lamb without blemish. That's on the 10th day, so you'll be ready when Passover roll in. It's also elaborating on, say it's just me and my household, it's only 5 people there, but I got all of this lamb. Hey, I'm gonna get with another brother so we can actually so we don't waste the whole lamb, because we're gonna have to burn it with fire anyway. So you get with another family, another household, you congregate, and y'all celebrate the Passover together. All right, so let's keep going unless you got something.
Verse 5. It says, your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. Ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, and ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the 2 side posts and on the upper door of the post of the houses, wherein they shall eat it.
So what you're supposed to do is take some of the blood and put it on the lintels and on the upper doorposts. Why? We're going to read about it as we keep going through this chapter.
Verse 8, it says, and they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it.
So when you make it the lamb, you're not supposed to bake it. You cannot boil it. It's actually going to go into it a little bit more on the next verse. So you get the lamb. Verse 8 tells you get unleavened bread. Verse 8 also tells you that you need your bitter herbs, right? And we'll kind of get into those things also, like what these things represent. But let's keep going for now.
Verse 9, it says, eat not of it raw.
So don't be eating it raw. Make sure you cook it all the way.
Nor sodden it all with water.
So don't boil it.
But roast with fire his head with his legs and with the purtenance thereof.
So originally you're supposed to roast the whole lamb, right? If you can't do that, you still make you a lamb. You still cook it over a fire, grill it, do what you got to do. We trying to rehearse these righteous acts to the best of our ability, right? To the best of our ability. So you probably can't get your hands on a whole lamb. Do what you got to do, right? Make sure you get you some lamb. You got anything?
No.
Gone.
Verse 10, and ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire.
So the things that you don't eat of the lamb, you burn it, right? Let's keep going.
And thus shall ye eat it with your loins girded, and your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and ye shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover.
So the Lord's Passover, this is why I said it's business. It's not a barbecue where you turn on Keith Sweat. What else? What do people listen to?
Cha sliding all kinds of nonsense.
It's not the family barbecue that you do in the world. It tells you should eat it, how you should eat it. You got your loins girded. Hey, I was just looking at a precept about your loins. Your loins is in between your I just want to pull it up. Where my phone at, King? Oh, thank you. All right. So everybody can get edified. I'm gonna pull it up. Where we at? Verse 11.
Mm-hmm.
God. With your loins girded. And it's a reason why he made it this way. Okay, so when you look up loins in the blue letter, it means loins, hips. It says side. Man, let me get the girded part. I think that's the part I wanted. With your loins girded. It says to gird on, gird oneself, put on the belt. To gird, to goil on, bind, to bind oneself. It says be able to put on, be afraid. Restrain on every side. Man, it was another one that I seen that I really liked. So it's about the belt area where you would, what we do nowadays, put on the belt. I want to get a quick precept in Revelation. It's a classic precept. And so the definition that I was seeing, it was like in Isaiah. And the precept where it says, woe to the women that's at ease. And I looked at it and I was looking at it and it started talking about the loins. And they'll be travailing, they'll be like holding their loins, right? And it said that it started going into like a war belt. And it made me think of Yahushua in Revelation chapter 1. So Revelation chapter 1 and verse 13. So this is the revelation of Yahushua. It's giving you the physical description of what Jesus looked like, Yahushua. So it says, verse 13, and in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man. So it's going to give you the description of what Christ looked like. Here it is. Clothed with a garment down to the foot. So he had a long garment on, and it went all the way down to his feet. And girt about the paps with the golden girdle. Right? So he had a golden war belt on. That's what a girdle was for. It was usually like a type of war belt or a type of cloth that'll go around like from your hips kind of up to your stomach, That's what it was for. Kind of keep everything in place, like your garment, and also used for war. I got to finish this out because it ain't right if I don't. It says, his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in the furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. So, the physical description of Christ is not what they depicted to be now. Of course, he was from the tribe of Judah. He was a black, strong, austere man, a beautiful garment on. He had white hair. His eyes were like a flame of fire. He had the sound of many waters. And of course, he was a dark-colored man. All right. So the point is, while we went through all of this, whenever you eat in the Passover, verse 11 tells you, make sure you got your loins girded. So you actually do want to put, especially the men, you want to actually put a girdle around your paps. You want to put the belt. If you ain't got a girdle, you want to actually put a belt around you or something. Whatever you can find, because we want to try and, we keeping the Passover as good as we can, as best as we can. So it says, with your shoes on your feet. So make sure you got your shoes on and your staff in your hand, because we walked out of Egypt. We was ready to go. And we eating it, not slowly and, you dipping it in barbecue sauce and A1 sauce and you cutting it piece by piece. No, you're eating in haste, right? You eating it in haste with your shoes on, with your staff in your hand, and with the girdle around your waist. You got anything?
I want everybody to imagine the feel during that time. Imagine the spirit during that time of everybody in Egypt. You got Moses and Aaron preaching, let my people go, and you got them casting down plagues on Egypt at the time. This is a serious but a rejoiceful moment in Israel. It's serious because we read that you got to put the blood on the doorpost, and we're gonna read why you have to put the blood on the doorpost. It's for a serious reason, because Moses already told that he was gonna cast the firstborns to die, basically. And if you didn't have that blood on there, the death angel would pass by, and you could have got killed. This was a serious thing. So the vibe during this time in Egypt was kind of serious. You got the Pharaoh that's pissed off at the Israelites.
Right.
You got the Egyptians that's pissed off at the Israelites. Everybody's mad at us, but yet, we're rejoicing because we like, you know, we finna get out of this captivity.
God.
We finna leave. But also a serious moment in time to where, you know, there's sometimes it's a time, like the scriptures say.
Grab it.
Yeah. It's a time to laugh, it's a time to cry, so, you know, a time to have fun, but it's also a time to be serious and be a man about something.
God.
Go ahead.
Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 says, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven.
To everything there is a season and a time and purpose under heaven. This is not the time to be lollygagging and playing around, you know, and just doing what you want to do. Because back then, if you went around the men of the Lord and you was playing during the time of Passover, it would have got serious.
Definitely.
You probably would have got killed.
Definitely.
You could have got killed. You mess around saying something that don't need to be said. Yeah, already said he gonna take account of all these words, all these idle words. This is not a time to play around. This is a time to rejoice and be glad. Because just like this Passover back then, same as now. We finna get out of here. So we rejoicing. But it's still serious. It's still more work. Go ahead.
So Khan, that's what I was about to. Yeah, I was about to say the same thing, man. It's about to be a second Exodus, man. So we about to do the same thing. And I had a precept I want to bring out. So this is second Ezra, chapter 16 and 40. It says, "O my people, hear my word, make you ready to the battle, and in those evils will be even as pilgrims upon the earth." So it's a time where we about to be pilgrims on the earth again, just like we was once before coming out of Egypt. Just like this place is called Egypt also. We coming out of this Egypt, like the brother was just saying. So that is a beautiful analogy, and it's gonna be a times, man, when we got to eat our food in haste again, probably, man, dealing with Jacob's trouble, because we gonna be in the midst of it regardless, man. Most High ain't just gonna zap us and we not have to go through this. And there might be times, man, we got to eat our food in haste, you know.
Hey, I want to bring this out real quick. Was you finna pull out a precept?
Nah, go ahead.
So, in verse 11, it told you, put a girdle on. You know, girt your loins. Tell you to wear your shoes, and it said, eat in haste. And I want to throw one more thing on this. So I went to Revelation to show you that Christ had a golden girdle on. He was girded up around the paps. And I went into the word, in the blue letter Bible, girt, in Revelation chapter 1, and it says to fasten garments with a girdle or a belt. So you would actually hold your garments together with this girdle on. Then watch what it says though. It says to gird oneself, and then it says metaphorically with truth as a girdle. So when we put in this girdle on, it's not just to put it on and say, hey, we doing this. No, we putting it together to bring this whole thing together. It's a girdle of truth. It says to equip oneself with knowledge of the truth. And the truth is knowing why you celebrating Passover. Right? And we're going to get into these things. Let's keep going.
This is Exodus chapter 12 and verse 12. It says, "For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast. And against all the gods of Egypt will I execute judgment. I am the Lord."
So the Most High God said he was going to pass through the land of Egypt and make a killing. Right? Let's keep going. Unless you got something.
Nah.
Okay, God.
It says, verse 13, "And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt."
So earlier we seen that the Most High commanded us the blood from the lamb that we had, we would actually put it upon the doors, the outside, like the post of the doors right outside the house. Right, and when the Most High God's death angels see the blood, he'll know to pass that house and not kill anyone there. You can keep going.
Verse 14. Yeah, verse 14. "And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast of the Lord throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. even the first day, ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from this day, from the first day until the seventh day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel.
And so he's giving you what you need to do for the Passover. Now he's giving you what you need to do on the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and you want to make sure you're taking all of the leaven outside of your house. Get it out of your house. All right. You want to add anything to that?
No, not right now.
Okay, Con.
Verse 16. And in the first day there shall be an holy convocation, and in the seventh day there shall be a holy convocation to you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you.
God, so one thing's for certain, the first day of unleavened bread is a holy convocation. That means that you're supposed to get together with like-minded brothers and sisters and congregate in righteousness. You do that on the first day of unleavened bread and on the seventh day of unleavened bread.
God, verse 17. And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in this selfsame day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall ye observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. In the first month of the 14th day of the month at even, ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month at even.
So every day during unleavened bread, you want to make sure you eating unleavened bread. It's as simple as that.
7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses. For whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the generation, from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger or born in the land. Ye shall eat nothing leavened in all your habitations. Shall ye eat unleavened bread. Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said unto them, draw out and take you a lamb according to your families, and kill the Passover. And ye shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin, and none of you shall go out at the door of his house until the morning.
God, so one thing also, so it jumped to the unleavened bread, then it jumped back to Passover, and it's telling you once you kill the Passover, you strike your the outside of your doorpost. You're supposed to stay there until the sunrise. You're supposed to stay there until the morning. It is what it is. Because if you was caught coming outside of your house, you could have got struck down by that death angel that the Most High God sent. You know, and so I wanted to actually talk about. I might wait to get into detail, but just in case someone knows, it tells you to take out all of the leaven outside of your house. Something that is leaven. I got the little definition right here. It says, leaven, a substance, typically yeast, that is used in dough to make it rise. So that's what leaven is. It's yeast, and that yeast when you put it in dough, it makes the bread, it leavens the whole lump. You know, it makes the bread rise. Like the regular bread that we eat on a day-to-day basis, it's always leavened. You know, if you're eating Sunbeam or whatever it is, the bread rises like a loaf of bread. You're not supposed to eat that. You have to eat unleavened bread. So unleavened bread, if you don't know how to make it, you can look it up on YouTube and get a tutorial. You know, that's how you got to do what you got to do. If you don't have the means to do that, you don't have the funds to do that, then maybe you can go to Walmart and get what's them things called?
Pita bread.
Pita bread or tortillas, whatever it is.
Yeah,
you know, they flat. It's not leavened.
I don't think it's pita bread though, Salakia. I think Peter got it a little leaven in it, Salakia.
Yeah, you did tell me.
I gotta fact check that.
Yeah. So and do the best you can do. Definitely gonna have to do some more research. You gotta look at the ingredients that's in your house. Look, man, we gotta do what we gotta do, because we gotta get that leaven out of our houses, and all of the things that's commanded for the Passover, like the blood of the lamb. All of these things represent other things that was a shadow of things to come. Like the leaven and unleavened bread, them things was just a shadow of things to come. And of course, after we read this, we'll kind of get into those deeper things. I see you holding a few precepts. You can pull them out if you want.
Later.
Okay, Con. So we're going to keep going through Exodus. We're going to try and give you the basic understanding. And, you know, Lord willing, we can give you the other side to it, the spiritual side to it, you know. Where was we at, King?
24. 24.
Okay,
24. It says, this is Exodus chapter 12, verse 24. And ye shall observe this thing for an ordinance to thee and to thy sons forever. And it shall come to pass when ye be coming to the land which the Lord will give you, according to as he hath promised, that ye shall keep this service. And it shall come to pass when your children shall say unto you, what mean ye by this service? That ye shall say, it is the sacrifice of the Lord's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses. And the people bowed and the head, Salakia, bowed the head in worship.
God, Salakia. So, hey, when you ask yourself, well, what's the significance, or why do we keep this memorial? Why do we always celebrate Passover? Why is it a big thing? Because the Lord spared us. He had mercy on us. Or he chose us, and he didn't have to. Verse 27 again. It says that you shall say. So whenever people ask, why do you celebrate Passover? What's the meaning of it? This is part of it, right? It says that you shall say, it is the sacrifice of the Lord's Passover, and the sacrifice was that lamb. It says, who passed over, and you understand that we killed the lamb. That was the sacrifice. We used the blood of that lamb, and that blood. Hey, give me Leviticus chapter 17, King.
17 what?
17 and 11.
God. This is Leviticus chapter 17 and verse 11.
Right.
It says, for the life of the flesh is in the blood.
So the life of the flesh is where?
In the blood.
Come on.
And I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls.
Mm-hmm.
For it is the blood that maketh an atonement for the soul.
So blood makes an atonement for your soul. And that lamb was the sacrifice. The blood is the atonement for your soul, just how Yahushua is. The blood is the life. If this makes sense at all, the blood is the life. Yahushua's blood, if you don't know who Yahushua is Jesus Christ. His blood gives us life. That's why he had to shed his blood, so that we can have a chance at everlasting life, right?
Was you gonna get there?
You got it?
Yeah. No, I was asking you, was you gonna get there, or is it?
And prove those.
Yeah, I can get one right quick, and we can.
Go ahead, because I already went to it. We might as well do it.
Guys, so this is John chapter 1 and 29. John chapter 1 and 29. It says, the next day John seeth Yahushua coming unto him, and said, behold, the Lamb of God, which taketh away the sin of the world. Because if you look, well, go ahead, Alex.
No, you got it. You got it.
Right. So that's why Yahushua HaMashiach was called the Lamb, because it's the same thing dealing with the Passover, like the brother just said. Yahushua is our Passover now. So we got to make sure that we cleansed in the blood of Yahushua, because he is that Lamb that died for the nation of Israel.
You got anything you want to add?
Quick precept. This is Matthew 27 and 24. When Pilate saw that he could prevail nothing, but rather a tumult was made, he took water and washed his hands before the multitude, saying, I am innocent of the blood of this just person. See ye to it. Then answered all the people and said, his blood be on us and on our children. And this is going to when the Jews was putting up Yahushua to be crucified. They put him up there to get killed. Now, the Jews we didn't actually know what we was doing at the time. We didn't know that this was actually like a biblical ceremony that was taking place. During this time, we said, let his blood be upon us. Now they said it out of spite, but literally that's what's happening. His blood is upon us, and it's upon our houses. It's not, it's no longer a physical house that we put the blood on, that we put this lamb's blood on. We put Yahushua's blood on us in the spirit, basically. He said, take it as, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. Salakia, we're going to get there. We're going to get there.
Whenever we see all these things in Exodus, when you know what they represent, it's hard to refrain from elaborating on them things, but we're going to try and give you basically the fundamentals in Exodus first and then go into the spiritual things, you know? We're trying to, but it's kind of hard to do that. Where we at, 28?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Exodus chapter 12 and verse 28. And the children of Israel went away and did as the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. And it came to pass that at midnight the Lord smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of cattle. The Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants and all the Egyptians, and there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one dead.
And so when the death angel passed through, just like he said it was going to happen, all of the firstborns died. In every house, somebody died, except for where the Israelites was. That's why you call it the Passover, because the Most High God passed over the Israelite houses and homes and families and slayed the firstborn of the Egyptians. Come on.
Verse 31. And he called for Moses and Aaron by night and said, Rise up and get ye forth from among my people. So I got to read that again. And he called for Moses and Aaron by night and said, Rise up and get you forth from among my people, both ye and the children of Israel. And the children of Israel, and go serve the Lord as ye have said.
Hey, so once this happened, Pharaoh was like, oh, hell no. Y'all need to get out of here. You know, leave. We don't want to keep y'all as our slaves no more. Y'all just go. Right? Just go. 32.
Also take your flocks and your herds as ye have said, and be gone, and bless me also.
Right.
And the Egyptians were urgent upon the people that they might send them out of the land in haste. For they said, we be all dead men.
Right. So all of the Egyptians, everyone over there, they scared now. They scared. First you had all of the other plagues. Then you got this.
Hey, I was just...
Yeah, go ahead, King.
Salakia, I was just thinking about that too. You said they were scared, how dramatic he was as he was saying this.
Yeah.
He's probably crying, sniffling, and everything, man.
His firstborn son just died. Just died. You know what I mean? Dead. It's a lot of people dead. Think about before the firstborn, him killing all the firstborns. Think about all of the other plagues on top of this, man. That's a lot of killing.
Salakia, and it's gonna be the same thing, man, pretty soon in Jacob's trouble. That's the Lord's Passover. He's gonna be passing over, and only the blood of Yahushua that's covered in that blood is gonna be, passed by.
That's the only way, man. It's this one precept that's so cool. I think this is it. It's Jeremiah 16. Let me get this real quick. Jeremiah 16 and 14. Jeremiah 16 and 14 says, Therefore, behold, the days come, said the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. So it's going to become a point in time. It's going to become a point in time where the Lord, where everyone don't even bring up Egypt no more, how he delivered us up out of Egypt. Why is it going to become a time like that? Let's read the next verse. It says, But the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north. Right? And this is the land of the north is synonymous with North America. Right? The daughter of Babylon. Right? The land of confusion. So it's not going to be talked about how the Israelites was delivered out of Egypt. It's going to be talked about how the Most High God delivered us up out of America. It says, and from all the lands whither he had driven them, and I will bring them again into the land that I gave unto their fathers. Right? So that's a real thing. It's a sequel to this movie, and we waiting on it. Go ahead.
God, this is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 18 and verse 15. Salakia. Let me start up. Verse 14. It says, for while all things were in quiet silence, and that night was in the midst of her swift course, thine almighty word leaped down from heaven out of the royal throne as a fierce man of war into the midst of a land of destruction. And that's what that death angel is. He leaped off from the almighty throne of the Most High and went down there to the land of destruction. It says, and brought thine unfeigned commandment as a sharp sword. And the unfeigned commandment was to go kill the firstborn of that land. We read in Exodus that it said they even killed the firstborn of the cattle. Every firstborn got slew. It says verse 16, and brought thine unfeigned commandment as a sharp sword, and standing up filled all things with death, and it touched the heaven, but it stood upon the earth. So that spirit, it touched the heaven, but it stood upon the earth. What is that going into?
Real quick.
Go ahead.
So it said in verse 15, the almighty what?
Thine almighty word.
What is that talking about? It says the almighty word jumped or leaped off the throne like a man of war and killed a lot of people. Did words actually jump off the throne? Nah. It's talking about Yahushua. Revelation 19 verse 13 says, let me say that again. The book of Revelation chapter 19 verse 13 says, and he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of God. So Yahushua's garment is going to be looking like it got dipped in blood. Not even looking. It's going to be dipped in blood. And his name is called the Word of God. Right? Because John chapter 1 says, in the beginning, it's like it real quick. Let me grab it. Real quick. And then you can pick up where you left off. So like
you straight.
All right, John chapter 1, verse 1 says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So in the beginning, you got the Word, and the Word was with God. Who is the Word? The Word is Yahushua, right? It's a code name for Yahushua, the Word.
God. We read in Exodus how the death angel didn't come into the middle of the night. We read in Wisdom of Solomon that it was a quiet night, silent. But then the almighty word leaped from the throne down, and it was standing on the earth, but it touched the heavens. What is that going into? It's just 1 Chronicles 21 and 16. It says, and David lifted up his eyes and saw the angel of the Lord stand between the earth and the heaven, having a drawn sword in his hand stretched out over Jerusalem. Then David and the elders of Israel who were clothed in sackcloth fell upon their faces. So that's what it looks like. It's an angel with a sword drawn out over Egypt right now. Actually, not even just drawn. He's swinging it. Boom. The spirit just going through and taking all the firstborn. Big spirit just in the air, taking everybody out. Now, we can get back to this Exodus.
God, where was that? 30? No, 32?
Yeah, 32. This is Exodus chapter 12, verse 32. Also, take your flocks and take your flocks and your herds, as ye have said, and be gone, and bless me also. And the Egyptians were urging upon the people that they might send them out of the land in haste, for they said, we be all dead men. And the reason why the Egyptians said that is because it's so many people that's dead right now. You got to think, this is just the last plague. This is the last plague. The plagues before had hell mingled with fire. That's literally ice and fire falling from the sky and killing people. Men just dying. They're urgent to get us out of here. I know a couple of the Egyptians was been trying to get Israel out of there, but the Most High had hardened Pharaoh's heart. Whatever Pharaoh say, go. Pharaoh said, I don't want y'all to leave. So we didn't leave. But every time, the longer we stayed, the more the plagues happened. They couldn't use the river water no more. That turned into blood. You had frogs coming up, flies, all kinds of just nastiness. The smell was probably terrible and grotesque. It was a darkness there that you could feel. People was having visions because they couldn't see nothing. So they were just imagine being in a dark room, just a pitch black room, and then you hear animals. You hear a tiger roar next to you, or you hear something something unfamiliar. You know. Meanwhile, you got hell mingled with fire coming down from the sky.
Hey, can I grab this Exodus 10 and 21?
Go ahead.
Exodus 10 and 21 says, "And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt."
A darkness which may be felt. That's a noisome darkness. That. Oh man, that's a powerful darkness. That's a darkness sent by the Most High. This ain't like you just closing your eyes and it's like, oh, it's dark. No, this darkness is on you. You can't see nothing. You can't go nowhere. It's like, damn,
You can feel it.
this is trash.
The scripture says it was so dark you could feel it.
Kind.
You know how it's so bright outside and the sun is out? You can feel the heat. Think about that. You could feel the darkness. On the contrawise. That's crazy.
Kind. This is Wisdom of Solomon's chapter 17 and verse 5. Salakia, verse 4, it says, "For neither might the corner that held them." Salakia, let me read that again. I'm tripping. "For neither might the corner that held them keep them from fear, but noises as of waters falling down sounded about them, and sad visions appeared unto them with heavy countenance. No power of the fire might even give them light. Neither could the bright flames of the stars endure to lighten that horrible night." Even the power of the fire could not give them light. They were literally going through it. Oh man, it says, "Only there appeared unto them a fire kindled in itself, very dreadful for being much terrified. They thought the things which they saw to be worse than the sight they saw not."
Oh my goodness. First of all, he said, it's so dark you can feel it. First and foremost. He said, you making a fire that still wouldn't make no light. That's how dark it is. He said the stars in the sky, they not even giving you light. He said the things that you were seeing in your mind or felt, the things that you thought was real was worse than actually seeing those things. That's crazy. You torment yourself. We was talking about this. Like kids, when they have a bad dream, you come in a room and they got a blanket on them and they curled up under the bed or in a corner.
Yeah.
That was them.
Literally, because it says, "For neither the might, the corner that held them,
The
keep
corner
them from
that
fear."
held them
Exactly.
that couldn't help you. Nothing could help you.
The might from the corner that held them couldn't keep them from the fear.
Look, man, when we talk about the Passover, we can talk about it. If we go in depth and really just tap into what it really was like, oh man, it's crazy. And Solomon, and Wisdom of Solomon, he really tells the story and how we passed over and the night before and the plagues. He really paints the picture, man.
He goes in depth with it.
He goes in depth. And it's like chapters. It's like 4 or 5 chapters long how he goes in detailed about it. So we're gonna give it to you as best as we can in a reasonable time frame, right? So just enjoy the ride, right?
Definitely.
How long we been on there? 40, 45?
Not that long.
Let's keep going, King.
Where we at? Verse 34. This is Exodus 12 and 34. "And the people took their dough before it was leavened."
And the people did what?
And the people took their dough before it was leavened.
So before the dough could be spiked with yeast so that it had rising agents, they grabbed it, right? Let's keep going.
It says, "Their kneading troughs being bound up in their clothes upon their shoulders. And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses, and they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment. And the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they lent unto them such things as they required, and they spoiled the Egyptians."
Hey, so the Most High God showed us favor in the sight of the Egyptians. And the Egyptians was, what's the word I'm looking for? Compelled to lend unto us and give us the things that we needed or wanted or required. Hey, it says that they lent unto us as they required, and we spoiled the Egyptians, cut, cold, and dry. And them things is going to happen again. Our enemies that we have in America, hey man, when the Most High God begin to deliver us again, man, let me pull out this precept Mighty Tahawam showed me. Jeremiah. Hey, Soldier Zion, can you grab this actually? Jeremiah 15 and 11.
Jeremiah 15:11.
God. And Captain DeBar, can you grab Proverbs 16 and 7? Baba Kashaba. Go ahead, Zion.
This is Jeremiah chapter 15, verse 11. And it says, the Lord said, verily it shall be well with thy raiment. Verily I will cause thy enemy to entreat thee well in the time of evil and in the time of affliction.
Hey, so the Most High God said he's going to call our enemies are going to entreat us well, meaning they're going to give us the things that we need. Hey, Proverbs chapter, Captain DeBar, is you there?
Yeah, Khan, I got it.
Okay, Khan, go ahead.
Khan, this is Proverbs 16 and 7. When a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him.
Tell me these scriptures is not powerful. He said, when a man's ways please the Most High God, he makes his enemies to be at peace with him. And you even had in slavery, when our forefathers was brought on cargo slave ships to America, to Babylon, you had Edomites trying to provide shelter and food and raiment while they was trying to get away from the south side. They was trying to go north. They was trying to get their freedom. And you had Edomites who was actually trying, and it's all through the Most High God. The Most High God compelled these Edomites, just how he compelled these Egyptians to actually give the things that the Israelites needed, right? So I'm not going to credit the Edomites or the Egyptians. Of course, we're going to give all honor, glory, and praises to who? The Most High God, right? That was a side note. We could keep going, though.
Khan, this is Exodus chapter 12 and verse 37. And the children of Israel, the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot, that were men beside children. And a mixed multitude went up also with them, and flocks and herds, even very much cattle.
Hey, so you had about 600,000 people, and you had a mixed multitude with us. People who wasn't really Israelites, right? And that's a different. We ain't really gonna get too deep in that, But let's keep going.
Khan, and they baked unleavened cakes.
What did they bake?
Unleavened cakes.
Come on.
Of the dough which they had brought forth out of Egypt.
Khan. So this is now it's getting into the reason why we keep unleavened bread. The dough that we took from Egypt, we baked unleavened cakes, right? We didn't have all of the yeast and the rising agents, and we didn't have the luxury of those things, right? So we keep Passover for a reason, and we keep unleavened bread for a memorial for 7 days, also to remind us and get us in that mind frame of what's going on. Why we was actually eating that unleavened bread, man.
Salakia. And also, you saying that should make it easier for you to be able to get the process going. Like,
elaborate on that. Get the process going.
Get the process going, as in, like you said, the rising agencies and all of that, with dealing with the ingredients. Now that you have these things where you don't have to use leaven, or you can figure out what has leaven in it and what really doesn't by using technology the same way you get everything else you need. You can figure out if stuff have leaven in it. I mean, you can ask questions also, but we don't know everything. So at the end of the day, you can help us out by posting things also. Y'all getting this together though, man, at the end of the day.
God. Hey, that's a beautiful statement you made. We don't know everything. If we knew everything, if everybody knew everything, we wouldn't be in captivity, man. So we need everybody to throw in a brick. You got anything, King?
Nah, we can
keep going. 39.
Yeah. It says, and they bake unleavened cakes of the dough which they brought forth out of Egypt, for it was not leavened, because they were thrust out of Egypt and could not tarry, neither had they prepared for themselves any victual.
God, so we was thrusted out of Egypt, and we couldn't tarry. We couldn't get, do all the things that we wanted to. That's why we had unleavened bread and not leavened bread. Go ahead, King.
God, because you got to remember, it's not like it just happened in the middle of the night and then everybody woke up, yawning and was like, oh man, y'all got to go. It wasn't like that. It was screaming. It was night terrors going on. People were dying, and it all happened in the middle of the night. That's when his son had died. Pharaoh got up. It's probably around 3. Get out of here.
Yeah, y'all got to go.
Leave now. Moses, get your people. Go serve your Lord like you said you wanted to. Leave. My people can't stay alive like this. We had to make a way. We had to make out hastily. They said midnight.
Whew. And that's the reason why we eat the Passover in haste.
Exactly.
It's not for you to be taking your time.
This was a time of you literally had to be moving quick. You got the Passover, boom, put it on the door, hurry up. You got to do this before sundown. Sundown, we don't know when it's cracking off.
Yeah.
He come like a thief in the night. We don't know when it's cracking off. We got to get this blood on her. Boom. Make the lamb. Let's hurry up, get it done. We eating the lamb, now we waiting.
Done.
Can't nobody sleep that night. Ain't nobody just sitting there like, well, I heard that, the angel was finna come through and, well, let's just chill. No, it wasn't like that.
It's finna crack off. It's a nail-biting sequence.
Yeah.
And you know how in movies they got like the beginning, they got the rising climax.
And then the climax.
The climax is now, man.
Yeah. Literally, everybody was in that night was waiting for that first scream. You hear that first yell and that first scream and holler. You hear one of the Egyptians, my son's dead.
Right.
Next thing you know, everybody, getting up, checking what's going on.
And my son dead too.
Yeah. Now everybody's, crying,
freaking
sad,
out.
some men mad.
And you know what it's probably like, what confusion brings. Confusion brings chaos.
It brings chaos.
Think about your neighborhood going into a emergency panic. All the lights open, doors open, dogs running, cats meowing, gunshots, everything, but not just the neighborhood. We talking about a whole kingdom, the whole land. And you got to remember all of the other plagues that the Most High God already did to this nation. All hell is breaking loose, and they hate our guts.
They mad,
right? Let's keep going unless you got something. 40.
We have 40. It says, now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years.
We was in there for 430 years, man.
We was ready to leave. We came in there at 70 and we left a great multitude. And this was prophesied unto Jacob, I believe.
It was prophesied to Abraham.
It was prophesied to Abraham too. God. It says on verse 41, it came to pass at the end of the 430 years, even the self same day it came to pass, that all the host of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt. It is a night to be much observed unto the Lord for bringing them out from the land of Egypt. This is that night of the Lord to be observed of all the children of Israel in their generations.
So this is a night that is much to be observed. You can't go far enough. I tell you in the book of Sirach, chapter 43 and 30, when you glorify the Lord, exalt him as much as you can, for even yet will you far exceed. And when you exalt him, put forth all your strength and be not weary, for ye can never go far enough. For real. Right? That's the real thing. You can't examine the Passover too much. Right? Let's keep going.
Verse 43. And the Lord said unto Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no stranger eat thereof. But every man's servant that is bought for money, when thou hast circumcised him, then shall he eat thereof. A foreigner and an hired servant shall not eat thereof. In one house shall it be eaten. Thou shalt not carry forth out of the thou shalt not carry forth aught of the flesh abroad out of the house. Neither shall ye break a bone thereof.
Hey, so when you eat, wherever you eat the Passover, like you're not supposed to make you a plate and you running inside and outside the house, and you go into the homie house, you jump in your Ford, and you kind of bend the corners. You throw the lamb on a piece of bread, and you kind of eating it like a hot dog, and you got barbecue sauce on it, and you playing, Lil Uzi Vert. That's not what we doing. That's not what we doing. You don't do that.
Because during that first night, there was no leaving.
You leave, you liable to die.
Yeah, there was no leaving. You're there. When you eat, you're there. You're there for the night. You're spending the night. It don't matter if you're at your bro's house, you're at your homegirl house, you're there.
Till the sun come up, man.
And it's some fear in that heart.
Yeah.
It's a little fear behind that. Like, oh, man, I'm not going out there.
Right.
You trying to get me killed. You seen these other plagues already came to pass. I'm a believer. I'm cool.
Right.
But kind. It says a foreigner and hired servant shall not eat thereof, and it shall be eaten. Verse 47. All the congregation of Israel shall keep it, and when a stranger shall sojourn with thee, and will keep the Passover to the Lord, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and keep it, and he shall be as one that is born in the land. For no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof. One law shall be to him that is a homeborn, and unto the stranger that sojourneth among you. So a lot of this was going into it. You have to be circumcised. You got to be circumcised in the foreskin. You have to be circumcised in the heart. You cannot eat of the Passover and be uncircumcised. Any fashion, way, matter, you have to be circumcised. That's just what that's going into. The new Passover and the old Passover, it's all the same alike. Spiritual and the physical side to it. It's a perfect balance. Verse 50.
Hey, yeah, exactly. It is a perfect balance because, and Paul talk about that too, being circumcised in the flesh and not being circumcised in the skin. So it all starts with the circumcision of the heart, man. It all starts with that, but definitely.
Kind. Verse 50. Thus did all the children of Israel as the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they, and it came to pass the self-same day that the Lord did bring the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt by their armies. Same way it happened back then is the same way it's going to happen now. We got out of Egypt, same way we're going to get out of this Egypt. The Most High is going to send who? Yahushua. He sent Yahushua back then. He's going to send Yahushua now. Yahushua was sent to kill people back then. Yahushua is sent to kill people now. There is no difference. A lot of people think that Yahushua is coming back with lollipops and he cool. He got baked unleavened cakes for everybody, and even the heathen can get it. If the heathen can get salvation back then as Egyptians, how can they get salvation now? And we read the mixed multitude. The mixed multitude died. They all perished in a horrible fashion. Solomon spoke on that, actually. He spoke on them not being able to get saved by that bronze serpent. Mm-hmm. Only our people was. And guess what the bronze serpent represents? It represents Yahushua. John chapter 3 will tell you that. Okay. It represents Yahushua. So if Yahushua is not able to save them then, how is he able to save them now? He didn't come for them. He came for us, to deliver us, give us salvation. Luke 1:68 will tell you that, to save us from our enemies. Okay. There's nothing new under the sun, yes? Okay. That's what Solomon said. Smartest brother to ever live. Wisest brother to ever live. There's nothing new under the sun. DeBar, you had to say something? I thought you want to unmute it.
God, I was going to get a precept too. This is Acts 5:30. It's a classic precept. Everybody know this precept. But it makes sense in this lesson also. It says, the God of our fathers raised up Yahushua, whom ye slew and hanged on a tree. He was slew like how you would do a lamb, the same way. It says, him have God exalted with his right hand to be a prince and a savior, for to give repentance to Israel and forgiveness of sins. Like the brother said, man, it's the same thing. Same way.
God.
I just want to bag you up, Salakia.
Nah, you straight. You the captain. You know what I'm saying? You good. I want to bring out this because this is all going into the Passover. Right now, you got to picture it. We leaving Egypt and we leaving out. The Pharaoh kicked us out at this time. This is Exodus 14, and I'm gonna start at 3. It says, for Pharaoh will say of the children of Israel, they are entangled in the land, the wilderness has shut them in. And I will harden the Pharaoh's heart, that he should follow after them. And I will be honored upon Pharaoh and upon all his hosts, that the Egyptians may know that I am the Lord. And they did so. And it was told the king of Egypt that the people fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and his servants was turned against the people. And they said, why have we done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us? So what's going on right now is Egyptians are angry, and they like, why did we let them go from serving us? We heard they entangled in the wilderness. We need to go get them. Let's go get them. I heard it's a river stopping them.
We can't let them get away with this.
Yeah. I'm Pharaoh. I'm Pharaoh. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the God of Israel. Meanwhile, Pharaoh was wishy-washy the whole time, just like Nebuchadnezzar was wishy-washy. Might be the same brother. I don't know. But they was definitely wishy-washy. But it says, verse 6, and he made ready his chariots and took his people with him. This is the Pharaoh. He made ready his chariots and he took his people with him. He took 600 chosen chariots and all the chariots of Egypt and captains over every one of them. And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he pursued after the children of Israel. And the children of Israel went out with an high hand. But the Egyptians pursued after them, all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh, and his horsemen and his army, and overtook them, encamping by the sea beside Pi-Hiroth, before Baal-Zephon. And when Pharaoh drew nigh, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them. And they were sore afraid. And the children of Israel cried out unto the Lord. And they said unto Moses, because there were no graves in Egypt, hast thou taken us away to die in the wilderness? Wherefore hast thou dealt with us to carry us forth out of Egypt? Is not this the word that we did tell thee in Egypt, saying, let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? For it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. So what's going on now? Israel is looking back. We looking back and we like, damn, we finna die. It's a lot of people lacking faith during this time. Same time is going on now. I'm gonna keep saying, I'm gonna keep making them references. It's always gonna be the same period. A lot of people gonna look at the prophets. They're gonna look at us and be like, yo, why am I doing this? You just did this so I could die.
Right.
You told me not to get the vaccine so I could die. You told me not to get the mark so I could die. Why? No. If I would have did that, I would have lived. Now I'm finna die. You see, they chasing us, right?
Right.
They finna kill us, and a lot of people are gonna lack faith in that time. After all these plagues that come to pass that you already know about, the Most High said we would be straight through all this. We just seen all these plagues that came to pass, just like now. We seen all these plagues come to pass. Everybody's a believer when the Most High is with them at that moment. You know. But when what?
You said this to me one time. You said it's easy to be a soldier when there is no war.
It's easy to be a soldier when there is no war. But when that fight or flight come in, now everybody, they shook. They're gonna look at us and be like, you know, they're gonna be like, Captain DeBar, why did you do this? If I would have stayed over there, I would have lived. If I would have just went to FEMA, I would have been okay. Now they chasing after us. And a lot of men lacking faith, just like they're going to lack faith today. Verse 13, and Moses said unto the people, fear ye not, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. It says, which he will show you today, for the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. And the Lord said unto Moses, wherefore criest thou unto me? Speak unto the children of Israel that they go forward. But lift thou up thy rod, and stretch out thine hand over the sea, and divide it, and the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. So Moses got straight commandment: lift up your rod, lift up your staff, and the sea is going to part. You're going to be able to go through that, because the Egyptians, they heard we was entangled in the wilderness. We can't get past this sea right now. You know, we just sitting over here chilling. But Most High gave him straight commandment to go through that sea. Verse 17, and I behold, I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them, and I will get me honor upon Pharaoh and upon all his hosts, upon his chariots and upon his horsemen. So the Most High is like, I'm going to get honor off of all this. I'm going to get the glory of all this. I brought Pharaoh up just so I could bring him down. Same way he brought America up just so he can bring America down. He's going to make America a laughingstock. You know, everybody going to be like, damn, this was America.
Right.
This was that great city. How is this so low? Same way he did with Pharaoh. Same way he did with Egypt. It's going to be brought to a low.
Hey, so
Go ahead.
yeah, I got a precept. I don't know if y'all was gonna get it or not, but I'll get it.
All right, go
Romans 9.
Go ahead.
Yeah, kind of. So this is Romans 9, and we're gonna start at 15. Let's start at 15. It says, "For he said to Moses," so this is the Most High speaking through Paul, giving the same analogy as when he spoke to Moses. It says, "I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. So then it is not of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth, but of God that showeth mercy." Right? And the only ones the Most High gonna show mercy to is the same ones he did back in the last Egypt, the Israelites. So it says, verse 17, "For the scripture said unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might shew my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth." And the Lord is going to do that once again too, man, when he deliver us out of the same Egypt. The same Egypt, man.
Con, good precept.
Con. This is Exodus chapter 14 and verse 19. "And the angel of God, which went before the camp of Israel, removed and went behind them. And the pillar of the cloud went from before their face and stood behind them. And it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. And it was a cloud and darkness to them, but it gave light by night to these, so that the one came not near the other all the night. And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided." So it was a great wind that went through the sea, and it divided the lands, or divided the waters, Salakia. Verse 23, "And the Egyptians pursued and went in after them in the midst of the sea, even all Pharaoh's horses and his chariots and his horsemen." So we're in the divided sea right now. We're walking on a straight path. Next thing you know, here come the Egyptians with their horsemen, their chariots, and the Pharaoh. He's coming through. He's right behind us on us. Verse 22, "And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them, and left in the midst of even all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. And it came to pass that in the morning watch the Lord looked unto the host of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire of the cloud, and troubled the host of the Egyptians, and took off their chariot wheels, and they drave them heavily. So the Egyptians said, Let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fighteth for them against the Egyptians." So the Most High took the wheels off their chariots. Now they can't go nowhere. Now they on foot. They in the middle of the now. The waters is finna close here in a minute. Verse 26, "And the Lord said unto Moses, Stretch out thy hand over the sea, and the waters may come again upon the Egyptians, upon their chariots and upon their horsemen. And Moses stretched forth his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to its strength. Then the morning appeared, and the Egyptians fled against it, and the Lord overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea." So everybody got washed up in the middle of that sea. Now, let's get Solomon's account.
You at 19? You want me to get it?
I'm at 19. Yeah.
I got you, King.
Definitely.
God. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 19, verse 1.
God.
"As for the ungodly, wrath came upon them without mercy unto the end." The ungodly is the Egyptians that chased us. It says, "Wrath came upon them without mercy unto the end, for he knew before what they would do." So the Most High God knew what the Egyptians was going to do. He always do. Verse 2 says, How that having given them leave to depart and sent them hastily away, they will repent and pursue them. So the Most High God already knew that the Egyptians was gonna send them away hastily, like, get out of here, hurry up, get out of here. But they was gonna repent, meaning they was gonna change their mind and pursue after the Israelites to kill them. Verse 3, for whilst they were yet mourning and making lamentation at the graves of the dead, they added another foolish device. I gotta read that part again. The Egyptians added another foolish device and pursued them as fugitives whom they had entreated to be gone. For the destiny whereof they were worthy drew them unto this end, and made them forget the things that had already happened, that they might fulfill the punishment which was wanting to their torments. Oh my. So how Solomon is painting this picture, it can get you can read over it, but you got to understand what's going on. He said he already knew what they was going to do, and they was filled with another foolish device to chase after them after they had let them go. I got to read that verse again. Verse 4. For the destiny, because it was destined, it was already predestined that these things was going to happen this way. For the destiny whereof they were worthy drew them unto this end. So they was worthy to have this punishment. And the Most High God drew them unto this end and made them forget the things that had already happened. The things that had already happened was all of the plagues, including the firstborn killing. Right? So they forgot all of the things that happened. That's how angry and upset they was. But destiny drew them to go through it this way, that they might fulfill the punishment which was wanting to their torments. So they had to fulfill this. It just had to be this way. You want me to keep going?
Okay.
Verse 5. And that thy people might pass a wonderful way, but they might find a strange death.
So kind. Our people might pass a wonderful way, but they're gonna find a strange death. And that's exactly what that's going into. It's kind of
Go sit down somewhere.
It's how the gospel is mentioned too. Let me see if I can find it.
Tazia, go sit down somewhere, man.
Let me see.
So like you.
It's Philippians.
What you looking for?
I'm looking for Philippians real quick. Where's that at?
Philippians. You want me to grab it? I'll give you your other hand.
Okay, come. There we go. Philippians
129, 28.
This is Philippians chapter 1, and I'm gonna start at 27. Only let your conversation be as it becometh the gospel of Christ, and whether I come and see you or else be absent, I may hear of your affairs, that ye stand fast in one spirit, with one mind, striving together for the faith of the gospel. Now, the context is the gospel. It says, "And nothing terrified by your adversaries, which is to them an evident token of perdition." The gospel to them is an evident token of perdition, or a strange death. It says, but to you of salvation and that of God. To us, it's a wonderful way. It's a wonderful way to get to the kingdom. We finna stroll out of here.
Con.
And when you keep reading, you're gonna see how we're gonna stroll out of here. We're gonna stroll out of here just how we stroll out of Egypt.
Con. So lucky if I may.
Go ahead.
So the gospel, the good news, to us, the gospel is great. It's good. It's like it says right here. It says verse 5. It says it's a wonderful way. But to our enemies, it's an evident token of perdition and destruction, and all hell gonna be breaking loose for them. But to us, it's gonna be a beautiful thing. Right? The good news is only good for us. Verse 6. For the whole creature in his proper kind was fashioned again anew, serving the peculiar commandments that were given unto them, that thy children might be kept without hurt.
And what is that going into? Read that again slowly.
Verse 6. For the whole creature in his proper kind was fashioned again anew.
And it was a bunch of when it says creature, it's going into elements, animals. It was fashioned again anew. The sea was never meant to stand up as a wall, but it was fashioned again anew to fulfill a commandment. Hell was never mingled with fire, but it was fashioned again anew to fulfill a commandment. Fill a straightway commandment from the Lord, because he can do that. The sea was never meant to stand up on a wall, but guess what? It was meant that way to keep us without hurt. Keep going.
As namely a cloud shadowing the camp,
Mm-hmm.
and where water stood before, dry land appeared. Whew, 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 whew. It said where water was before, dry land is there now, right? Because we walked through the Red Sea while the water stood up, you know?
Uh-huh.
I got to read that again. As namely a cloud shadowing the camp. Man, there's so much stuff we can go into. Passover is crazy.
Salaki. Can I add something right quick? So the ground was dry, right? So like you know how there's sand on the bottom, you know, of the ocean, and it's all dirt, and like the moisture of the dirt, that was all gone and it was dry. That's pretty crazy.
That is crazy. It says, as namely a cloud shadowing the camp, and where water stood before, dry land appeared. And out of the Red Sea a way without impediment, and out of the violent stream a green field.
So in the midst of it was a green field. It was a green field of dry land for us. Keep going.
Where through all the people went that were defended with thy hand, seeing thy marvelous strange wonders.
So we walking through the midst of this water, seeing the marvelous strange wonders of the Most High. You're like, damn, this is crazy.
Let's go.
This is crazy.
Man.
He said this would happen, and it's happening, and we out of Egypt, and we walking now. Now we're leaving. We escaped. Hold on, it's more.
I know.
it's more,
bro. It's a perfect precept.
God. I thought you was dropping it. I'm like,
no. I'm not gonna do that. No. Basically, it's just saying Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5. It tell you that I'm gonna just read it. Wisdom of Solomon 5:2. It says, when they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear. When the other nations witness our salvation, it's going to be crazy, and they're going to be scared. They're going to be shook. It says, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they look for. Our salvation is going to be so strange to them, just how it was in the book of Exodus, man.
God.
Verse 8 or 9. Wisdom of Solomon 19:9. For they went at large like horses and leaped like lambs, praising thee, O Lord, who has delivered them.
So we was going through the water, prancing like horses and skipping and praising the Most High God. We in the midst of the waters, the Wadi Out, the Wadi Out Shah, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahweh Shah, Hallelujah. We in there praising and singing, singing hymns, giving all praises to the Most High God for saving us in the midst of the water.
God.
In the midst of the water. Go ahead.
Verse 10. For they were yet mindful of things that were done while they sojourned in the strange land, how the ground brought forth flies instead of cattle, and how the river cast up a multitude of frogs instead of fishes.
So, in the midst of this river, we starting to think and remember about all the plagues that happened. He brought flies, he brought frogs, all this kind of different things upon this land that never touched us, but it touched I was going to say the heathen. It touched the Egyptians. Same thing that's going to happen now. What the scriptures say, 1,000 shall fall at thy left and 10,000 at thy right, but none shall come nigh thee. And that's exactly what's going to happen, just like it happened back in the past. Go ahead.
Verse 11 says, but afterwards they saw a new generation of fowls. When being led with their appetite, they asked delicate meats. For quails came up unto them from the sea for their contentment. And punishments came upon the sinners, not without former signs, by the force of thunders, for they suffer justly according to their own wickedness. For they suffered justly according to their own wickedness, and so much as they used a more hard and hateful behavior towards strangers.
So right now, the Most High is going into, they suffered a just judgment, literally a just judgment, because how they acted towards strangers. You know, it's something called etiquette and being polite. The Most High, he gets down with that. You have to be polite to your stranger, to your fellow brother on this earth.
If I may,
go ahead.
One of the fruits of the Spirit, I believe, is goodness, and goodness is another word for being kind.
Kind.
That's a fruit of the Spirit you gotta have.
Kind. Go keep reading.
Verse 14. For the Sodomites did not receive those whom they knew not when they came.
So he talking about the Sodomites. The Sodomites, they didn't receive them who they didn't know, basically. You know, simple and plain. They didn't receive them. Go ahead.
But these brought friends into bondage that had well deserved of them.
These niggas, they brought us into bondage.
Right.
And we were friends at one point in time. Don't forget, Joseph was high. Joseph was a great man. You know, he came in there with his family, 70 deep. And then we was brought under subjection 430 years. So the Most High is like, man, I'm going to repay these niggas everything. Same way with this Edomite. You know, he came and took us, hunted us. That's what Esau do. He hunted us, brought us to this land, made us serve. Esau been in rulership for over like 2,000 years altogether, not including America. He been in rulership for over like 2,000 years. This nigga, Esau's destruction is finna be impeccable. It's gonna be impeccable.
And the Most High God, he's not gonna move or stir his judgment.
No.
He's gonna get exactly what he needs. He's gonna get exactly what's coming to him. So like, yeah.
God.
Let me keep going.
Yeah, just a couple more verses.
Verse 15 says, and not only so, but peradventure some respect shall be had of those, because they use strangers not friendly.
They use strangers not friendly. Go ahead.
Verse 16. But these very grievously afflicted them. But these very grievously afflicted them, whom they had received with feastings, and were already made partakers of the same laws with them.
We was already like chilling and congregating with each other, being friendly, having a good time
with the Egyptians.
But guess what? They put us in bondage and used us grievously. They used us, they put their foot on our neck. You know, they put a yoke on us. The Most High didn't like that. He was like, how do you treat such strangers like that? That's rude.
Someone you was feasting with.
Yeah. You broke bread with this man. And, you know, go ahead.
Verse 17. Therefore, even with blindness were these stricken, as those were at the doors of the righteous man, when being compassed about with horrible great darkness, everyone sought the passage of his own doors.
So he said, even these men, Egyptians, were stricken with blindness, even those that were at the doors of the righteous man. That righteous man is going in the lot. It was Sodomites that was stricken blind at the door of Lot. Same way it is with the Egyptians. Go ahead.
Verse 18. For the elements were changed in themselves by a kind of harmony, like as in a psaltery notes change the name of the tune, and yet are always sounds which may well be perceived by the sight of the things that have been done. So
what he going into is say you got a guitar, and you know each string got a certain sound to it,
right?
You can mix strings and mix melodies that go with each other. Same way with the elements.
And when you match certain strings together, it makes a new melody, a new harmony, and a new beautiful tune and sound. And the same thing, like Officer Aharon said, when you mix these elements together, hey, it's a new melody, it's a new sound.
And he was actually Solomon was going into it a little bit earlier. This might be it right here.
You want me to keep going? I think it is 19.
Yeah, it is 19.
Verse 19 says, for earthly things were turned into watery, and the things that that before swam in the water now went upon the ground.
Mm-hmm.
The fire had power in the water.
It says the fire had power in the water. So when hail and ice was falling from the sky, if a piece of fire went into the water got stronger. I mean, the fire got stronger. Salakia. Meanwhile, water is supposed to quench fire, but that's not how it happened. It was a new melody in the earth. Go ahead.
It says, forgetting his own virtue, and the water forgot his own quenching nature.
The water forgot his own quenching nature. He was like, you know what? I'm gonna make this fire stronger.
Only the Most High God can make the water, can mix elements like that.
God.
He made it to where the water didn't quench the fire, and they harmonized like that. God. Verse 21 says, on the other side, the flames wasted not the flesh of the corruptible living things. So on another note, the flames, I'm gonna just read it. It's saying what it's saying. The flames wasted not the flesh of the corruptible living things, though they walked therein. Neither melted they, neither did the fire melt. I'm gonna read this. I gotta read this smooth. It says, neither melted they the icy kind of heavenly meat that was of nature apt to melt. So fire by nature, it burns stuff. That's his commandment, to burn stuff. But the way that it harmonized with the water, because one of the plagues was that he sent hail down with fire. Mm-hmm. Hail mixed with fire. Only the Most High God can make it to where the water didn't put out the fire, and the fire didn't overtake the hail, or the hail
melt the ice.
That's the crazy part, you know. So Solomon just putting you up on game. Mm-hmm. He just letting you know what's going on. You know, because me and Aharon, when we first came into the truth and we read it, we were just like holding our head because it just didn't make sense. Like, oh my, how is he able to do this? But like we said with the guitar, man, he know how to make things harmonize, and he brought forth a new melody.
I wasn't trying to get too deep because I didn't know.
I didn't know either, man. It's crazy though that the Most High God can actually do something like that.
God is beautiful. Like imagine throwing water on fire and it makes it bigger. Like that. That's beautiful.
Right. Like, oh my goodness. What do you mean?
We can get back to the more spiritual things of the Passover.
Let's touch on, so the first thing that is mentioned in Exodus 12 is the lamb. Right? We already kind of touched on this a little bit. That lamb, Captain DeBar pulled a perfect precept. He pulled John chapter 1, verse 29. Captain DeBar, can you pull the other one in 1 Peter? I think it's 1 Peter 1 and 19, Baba Kasha. And this is proven that Yahushua is that lamb. Right? Baba Kasha, if or Zion, can you grab it? First Peter.
I'm right here. I got it.
Okay, Con, go ahead, King.
Yeah, Con. So this is 1 Peter chapter 1 and 19. It says, but with the precious blood of Hamashiach, as of a lamb without blemish and without spot, who verily was foreordained before the foundation of the world, but was manifest in these last times for you.
Con. So Yahushua represents that lamb that's without spot and without blemish, just how it tells you in Exodus chapter 12, 3 and 4, or 5 rather. It tells you that you got to get a lamb that's without blemish, you know, and that lamb without blemish, of course, is none other than the only begotten Son, Yahushua Mashiach, right? So he's the lamb, right? Period, point blank. You know, we pulled 2 precepts on it. Do you got anything else you want to add to that? If not, I'm gonna kind of keep making my way downtown.
Yeah, Khan. First off, we know we got to get a firstborn lamb, basically, and that's what Christ is. Okay. Christ is the firstborn Son of the Most High. You know, and here go one precept. This is Colossians 1 and 15. Who is the invisible image of God, the firstborn of every creature? Christ is the firstborn of every creature, so he's the firstborn lamb. That's why we going into it right now. He's the Passover. He's the sacrifice. Go ahead.
So let's keep going. The next thing, I think is Exodus chapter 12. It tells you got to kill the Passover, or excuse me, kill that lamb. Everyone should know that Jesus died, or that Yahushua died. Everybody know that, Con.
Lord willing.
Lord willing.
Con.
All right, that shouldn't be something that we have to prove. Just in case, though, can you grab me a precept?
What you mean?
Just proving that Yahushua died. No. We just proved it with the precept that we just pulled. 1 Peter 1:19. I think it actually elaborated on the past. You got one?
Yeah, I got one.
Okay,
Acts
go ahead.
5:31.
Right, we pulled that one too. You know, that should be proof enough. But go ahead, King.
Guys, so this is Hebrews chapter 9 and verse 13. Y'all ain't got this one, right?
La.
God, it says, for if the blood of bulls and of goats and the ashes of a heifer sprinkled the unclean, sanctified to the purifying of the flesh. Right? We did these things in order to purify ourselves and bring us back closer to the Most High. That's why it was ordained in Leviticus 1:1, and he gave us the instructions all throughout Leviticus. Right? It was set up for the priest to instruct us and show us how to do it. So it says, how much more shall the blood of Hamashiach, who through the eternal spirit offered himself without spot to God. So it's not the us sacrificing the lamb anymore. It's like the brother said, we touching on the spiritual side of it. And the spiritual side is, hey, he being that lamb without blemish, and that his blood covers us.
God.
I'm talking about, it covers you. If you're doing what's right, it covers you in a way of, like, you cannot sin if you walking in the steps of Yahushua HaMashiach. It tells you that in Romans 6. But we have to take this very serious, because, can I get another precept right quick?
God.
God, so in Hebrews 10:24 on down, and it tells us how exactly to follow those guidelines of walking in Hamashiach Yahushua. And it says, verse 25, it says, not forsaking the assembly of ourselves together, as the manner of some is. These are the first guidelines. It says, but exhorting one another, and so much the more as ye see the day approaching. What day? The day of the Lord's sacrifice, man. It says, for if we sin willfully after we have received the knowledge of the truth, and the truth is you actually know what sin is, you actually know who you are and what the Most High requires from you. It says, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sin. So that's just like he tells us in Isaiah, Salakia, Isaiah 66:3, because the Most High have labeled people's burnt offerings as an abomination. So this is Isaiah 66:3. It says, he that killeth an ox is as if he slew a man, and he that sacrificed a lamb as if he cut off a dog's neck. He that offereth an oblation as if he offered swine's blood. He that burneth incense as if he blessed an idol. Yeah, they have chosen their own ways, and their soul delighted in their abomination. So the Most High God, you can't end up in that situation where Most High God looking at your offering through your Yahushua like that. So you want to make sure at the end of the day that you're doing it right. Right. So I want to go back to this. Hebrews 10 and 27. It says, but a certain fearful looking for of judgment and fiery indignation, which shall devour the adversaries. And your adversaries is everyone that is not doing what he instructed them to do. Because we just read in Exodus 12 that this is we're supposed to teach our sons this, and it's supposed to be forever. So you don't get to make these excuses on why you don't have to keep this, because you have to keep it. Right? So Salakia, let me finish this. It says, he that despised Moses' law died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses. Right? Like the brothers, that's the first thing the brothers was talking about. Like, people, if you got caught not doing this, and you was in trouble. It says, of how much sore punishment suppose ye shall he be thought worthy. Right? So you gotta be worthy. It says, who have trodden underfoot the Son of God, and have counted the blood of the covenant wherewith he was sanctified an unholy thing, and have done despite unto the spirit of grace. Because that's where this comes from, man. Yahushua HaMashiach, he came in truth and he came in grace. John 1:17. So we definitely got to make sure we do this right. Oh, Salakia.
Khan, you got something, Mike? Look like you holding a few. You want to grab something?
That's pertaining to the bone. So whatever you get.
Okay. Okay, Khan. So where I want to go, it says, and I kind of already touched on this. So where I'm at now is Exodus chapter 12 and 7. It says, and they shall take up the blood and strike it on the two side posts on the upper door post of the house wherein they shall eat it. So basically, we already talked about the doorpost, and you putting the blood on the doorpost. It's actually representing the blood of Yahushua. And the blood, I already told you in Leviticus chapter 11, I pulled it out. The blood represents the life, right? That's why we are commanded not to eat anything raw. That's why we are commanded not to eat blood and drink blood, because it represents something. Mm-hmm. It's the life, right? And now on a spiritual level, the blood of the lamb represents Yahushua's blood, you know? And his blood being shed on the cross for us, him dying for us, gives us an opportunity of life, right? Period, point blank. Verse 8, it tells you you got to roast it with fire. It says you got to eat unleavened bread, and you got to eat bitter herbs, right? So let's touch on the unleavened bread. Let's touch on that part a little bit. Let's start with 1 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 6. Soldier Zion, can you grab that, Baba Kasha? 1 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 6. And Captain DeBar, I got a precept for the bitter herbs. This is in Exodus chapter 1. But go ahead, Zion.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 6. It says, Your glorying is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump?
So according to Paul, he's finna drop a big diamond, a big gem. You got to understand that these things in Exodus chapter 12 all signify something spiritually. He said, hey, you don't know that a little bit of leaveneth the whole lump. If you put a little bit of leaven in bread, a leavening agent like yeast, it will make the whole dough, the whole thing that you bake, to rise, even just a little bit. And you got to understand that leaven that Paul is talking about in 1 Corinthians chapter 5, it's a spiritual thing. He's not talking about actual leaven right now, right? Let's read that again.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 6. It says, Your glorying is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump?
Come on.
Verse 7. Purge out, therefore, the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump.
So he's saying,
purge
out all of the other leaven so you can become a new lump. Come on.
As ye are unleavened. For even Christ our Passover is sacrificed for us.
God. So he's giving you a lot of things right now. He's giving you a lot of keys. Let's keep reading so we can actually unlock this door.
Verse 8. Therefore, let us keep the feast, not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth.
God. So when he said, know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. Leaven is representing malice, wickedness, evil, sin. A little bit of leaven, a little bit of malice, a little bit of sin, a little bit of wickedness, it turns into more. Give me Isaiah 30 and 1. Watch what the Bible say. This is why he said, if you got just a little bit of leaven, that little bit of leaven is going to turn into more leaven. It leavens the whole lump. Come on.
This is Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 1. It says, woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit.
Hey, so if you one of the men or women that's taking counsel, or you covering up things, and you're getting through all your problems by running from them, or not using the Most High God and his instructions and his laws and his statutes and his commandments to actually put on that real covering, the real armor of the Most High God, you're going to do something that you shouldn't do. Come on.
It says, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin.
Right? Because that little bit of leaven, it's going to leaven the whole lump. And you're going to keep adding sin unto sin, unto sin, and unto sin. That's why in the book of Matthew, you tell you, if your eye offends you, pluck it out. If one of your members is going off, cut it off. Right? Because I tell you, a wicked eye defiles the whole body. A wicked mind defiles the rest of your body. Because wickedness always starts with a thought. And once you're thinking about it, it becomes not just the thought, it becomes an action. And them actions turn into habits. And them habits, you can't break them. And if you can't break those habits, you're going to wake up dead. Come on.
God, like you said, them thoughts, them is just imaginations, and it turn into works. That's what that is. And I had something, but this is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 22. It says, abstain from all appearance of evil. You're supposed to abstain from all of these, because it says even the thought of foolishness is sin. Why does it say even the thought of foolishness is sin? It's because, like he said, if you think about it, you're going to be meditating on it. If you're meditating on it, then you're going to commit it. You're going to do it. Then will be your works. It's like the Bible, the Bible deals with seeds and trees. It's like you plant a seed. You plant a little seed of that wickedness, and then it just grows. You water it every now and then. It grows. It gets light. And then you got a whole tree of wickedness. That's what that's going into. You're supposed to purge out all this leaven. You're supposed to purge out all of that.
All of it.
And really it's going into being a new man. Being a new creature in Christ.
God, let me grab a precept for you.
All right.
God, and yeast is bacteria, right? So even if it's like a small amount, it multiplies.
God,
that's a nice little fact to know. I wanted to grab this precept real quick in Colossians, but I'm being real slow on the sword. Here we are. Colossians 3:10 says, I'm gonna start at 9. Colossians chapter 3 verse 9 says, lie not one to another, seeing you have put off the old man with his deeds.
Con, you're supposed to put off that old man with his deeds. You're supposed to be a new creature. Is still more? Go ahead.
Verse 10 says, and have put on the new man, which is renewed in knowledge after the image of him that created him.
Con, you're supposed to be renewed in knowledge after the image of him that created him. Who's the man that created us? The spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. That's the spirit in what we're supposed to be moving in that new creature. We're supposed to gird ourselves with that new creature. Put that golden girdle on. And get it's a whole lot more into it. It was what was I just thinking about? I had something fire.
Spirit is willing,
flesh weak. Basically going into being a new creature. You're supposed to put off all that leaven. I was leading up to it. What was it? I can't.
You said you got to put on the
new man, the new creature.
Yeah. Then you said something about a wardrobe, like a girdle. And then was you going to talk about? You said a golden girdle. Oh, sorry, remember, King. It was good though. I could.
It escaped me. It's all good.
I know it was good, King. So I'm gonna go back to 1 Corinthians chapter 5 because it was a little bit more that I wanted to go on to. Can you read verse 7, King?
Salakia, I found it. I found it. That's why you can't enter into the Passover uncircumcised. Right there. You're supposed to be circumcised in the heart and in the flesh. And when you're circumcised in the heart, guess what that means? It means you're doing everything accordingly. You look like you got a fire precept coming or something, right? This brother start flipping through the pages fiercely.
God.
You got it?
Yeah. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 6 says, and the Lord thy God will circumcise thine heart, your mind, and heart of thy seed to love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live.
God, so he's going to circumcise our heart. And that's what that's going into. That's why you can't come into the Passover uncircumcised, whether heart or flesh. You're supposed to be a new person, a new creature. You're supposed to put out that old leaven. That's what I wanted, that circumcision. Man, that was on my spirit.
God,
Go
all
ahead,
praises. God, so it says, 1 Corinthians 5 and 7. You know, we got more precepts we got to pull out. So verse 7 says, purge out therefore the old leaven. So the old man, the wickedness that you used to commit, them sins, them thoughts, and man, we got to put all those things away. We got to put them off. It says that ye may be a new lump, as ye are unleavened. So we got to stop being leavened and become unleavened, without those impurities. Did you want to add real quick, King?
Yeah. So, and that goes into, it's not really hard, man. Only thing I gotta do is follow Yahweh Shah Hamashiach. He the one paved the way. And that sums everything up. But I do got a precept though.
Okay, come.
This is Romans 6 and 6. It says, knowing this, that our old man is crucified with him, that the body, and this is spiritual, man, that the body of sin might be destroyed, that henceforth we should not serve sin. But this is how you not serve sin, by walking after Yahweh Shah Mashiach, despite your hiccups, your mess ups, man. So it's really simple. It's really not hard. Only thing you got to do is read the Gospels and apply what he was telling us to do, man. This is how you purge out that old leaven, following Yahweh Shah Mashiach.
It says, verse 8 says, let me finish verse 7. There's something important in there. It says, for even Christ our Passover is sacrificed for us. So this scripture proves that Christ is our Passover. And he is the one that's gonna, because the Passover back then, the lamb, the blood of the lamb, it protected us when the Most High God sent this death angel and passed over the land of Egypt. Yahushua is that new Passover, and he's gonna protect us whenever the Most High God sends them death angels over the land of Egypt again. Right? So you gotta, and if you don't have the blood of Yahushua on you, like Captain DeBar and Officer Aharon said, you're not gonna make the cut.
Finished.
You're not gonna make the cut. It says, for even Christ our Passover is sacrificed for us. Therefore, let us keep the feast. What feast is it talking about? The Passover. Not with old leaven. So not with the old man and the old demons and the malice and the wickedness and the backbiting and the stealing and the smoking and the trapping and the selling dope and the kicking in those, and we're not doing that no more. That's the old leaven. And you committing adultery, you're doing strange things, strange flesh, fornication, bestiality. We're not doing those things no more. Neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. So instead of us doing all of those sins, now we keeping the laws, man. We keeping the high holy days as best as we can, with a godly mindset, because we know we can't do it perfect. In truth and sincerity, we being genuine. We not stealing, right? We showing love to our people, to our brethren. We congregating. We keeping the Sabbath days, dietary laws, moral laws. We doing the things as best as we can. And Lord willing, the Most High God hears our plea, and he take us back and give us back the land that he always wanted us to have, man. The land that floweth with milk and honey. That he make our nation whole again. That we can get away from these vicious ass enemies who want to step on our necks and shoot us in our head. That's why we got to come back to the Most High God, man, with a bowed head, man, on our knees and with our arms up, surrendering to his mercy, man, surrendering to his power, Salakia, and begging for his mercy. Con, man. Let me grab this. Where's my apocrypha? I'll grab hers. Let's see. Sirach chapter 1. And this is a powerful scripture right here. Sirach chapter 1, verse 30. Sirach chapter 1, verse 30 says, exalt not thyself, lest thou fall, and bring dishonor upon thy soul. And so God discover thy secrets and cast thee down in the midst of the congregation. So make sure you're not exalting yourself, and make sure that you're not being prideful, because he's going to bring you down. Hey, in the midst of everybody. It says in the midst of the congregation. And he's going to discover your secrets. This is the point. Because thou camest not in truth to the fear of the Lord, but thine heart is full of deceit. So make sure when you come into this truth, make sure when you keep in this Passover, you doing it with a godly heart, with a godly mindset and truth and sincerity, and it's genuine. And you're not just doing this because your homeboy doing it, or because you want to eat the lamb, or because you think it's cool that we wear fringes, or you just feel safe over it. No, you doing this with a purpose. Go ahead, King.
Con, this is 1 Corinthians 10 and 12. It says, wherefore let him that thinketh he standeth take heed lest he fall. You don't want to come into this Passover being puffed up. The scriptures say pride was not made for man. You don't want to come in here thinking that you're somebody, thinking, you this almighty prophet, or thinking,
You know it all,
man, I made it already. I'm good.
Right.
I know I'm getting salvation.
Oh, man.
You don't want to be that brother.
Don't be him.
You want to come in here with a humble spirit, because you don't know if that death angel gonna pass over you or not. That was the shaky part about that night.
You could have got hit up.
Yeah. You know how the scriptures always say in that day. We need to start thinking about what happened in that night. In that night in Egypt, all hell broke loose. Nobody was puffed up during that time. Nobody was, sitting there being proud. Only people that was proud during that time was the Egyptians. Same way in this time, the only people that's gonna be proud is these Americans, these so-called white people. Them the ones that's proud and puffed up until they firstborns is dead, until niggas is getting carried away into captivity,
right? Until
niggas see the strangeness of our salvation. Niggas need to be reverting back to that night to see how we gonna get through that day. That's what really need to be happening. Because he said he come as a thief in the night. All hell could break loose in the middle of the night, just like it did before. We don't know what's going to happen. Are you going to have the lamb's blood on your doorpost? Is that going to be you that has that first screen in the middle of the night? Who are you? That's what the scriptures say. Examine yourself. Are you covered in the blood? Are you walking in the fearness of the Most High? Do you actually trust in the Most High? Are you that person that says, did you bring us out here in the wilderness just for us to die? Are you that man? Are you that woman? Or are you that person that's like, the Most High got me. I didn't seen all these plagues. He didn't bring us out here for nothing. He's finna save his people. It's written. Everybody know Papa Abraham, right?
Right.
He got him through it. He gonna get me through it. We need to really start examining ourselves and seeing how we moving. How's our faith? What are we really in this for? That's what you need to examine the Passover for. What are you really in this for? You don't want to go to the Passover if you're not really in this wholeheartedly. If you're not in this sincerely. Because that'll get you messed up quick. Paul said that. We're gonna read it.
You got something? I'm gonna pull it out right now.
Pull it
out. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 24. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, take, eat this. Slakia. He said, take, eat. This is my body, which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me.
So this is Christ speaking. He said, take, eat. This is my body. What is that going into? That's going into the bread. He even spoke in a prayer. He said, give us this day our daily bread. This is something that we need. We need the daily bread of Christ. What is the daily bread of Christ going in? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think he said that in John 15. He said, I am the bread.
Hey, I got you right here. This is John chapter 6 and 48. John chapter 6:48 says, I am that bread of life.
Yeah.
Period. I am that bread of life. I'm going to jump down to 53. It says, then Yahushua said unto them, verily, verily, I say unto you, except ye eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, ye have no life. You have no life in you. Whoso eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood have eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. For my flesh is meat indeed, and my blood is drink indeed.
So
Kind. That's you get the point. Go ahead, King.
kind. So he was saying all that. Of course, there's a deeper meaning behind that, but the carnal people back then, they got offended. You know, they said, we not finna drink of this nigga's blood. This nigga's bugged out.
Right.
We not finna eat this man's flesh. But if you were spiritual and actually knew what was going on, you would see that he's talking about eating the bread. That's going into eating his word. He said in the volume of the book is written as me. I'm in the volume of the book. And what's in this book? Bread and wine. That wine represents that blood on a spiritual level.
We're going to read it.
We're going to read it. We have to get this daily bread, and we have to get and dive into this wine, because you have to dive into the wine at some point in time. You got to know when your house shot coming back. You got to be watching, right? That's a part of it. You have to be watching, or he's going to come in the middle of the night. And you're not going to see it. So that's what this is going into. You have to be eating this bread, or you won't live. Your spirit is not going to live. You're going to be dead.
Hey, look, man. If you don't eat bread, your body not going to be strong enough. Hey, just like a kid. Where my pocket for go, man? Oh, okay, so like here it is.
Jake.
Right. Finna bug out. Where is it at? Where is the book? Salakia, I want to grab this, man, because it tell you, Captain DeBar, it tell you certain things in Sirach that's a necessity for your life, and it goes into those things. Is it 39? I could be tripping. I ain't pulled it in so long, so I was.
Man, that's Jeremiah's. Jeremiah used to always talk about that scripture.
Man,
I don't know exactly.
Oh, okay, I found it right there. Watch this, man. This is Sirach chapter 39 and 26. Sirach 39 and 26 says, the principal things, and we know what principal means. You know, the most important. So the principal things for the whole use of a man's life. So it's going to give you the main things that you need to survive. The first thing it says is water. On a carnal level, your body is made up. Let Esau tell you 75% water. Mm-hmm. You need water to live. You got to drink water every day to live. On a spiritual level, what does water represent? In the book of Sirach, chapter 15, it tells you that water represents wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Mm-hmm. Right? Likewise, it tells you in the gospel, Yahushua said, you got to come, any man that drink of this water is never going to thirst again. You got to come drink out of his well. Mm-hmm. It says fire. The next thing that a man needs is fire. On the carnal level, you need fire to stay warm. You need fire to give light, to see where you're going so you're not stumbling. On the spiritual level, it's the same thing. You got to have that fire burning inside of your spirit so that you can navigate and withstand the wiles of this devil. God. You got to stay on fire for the Most High God. Your spirit got to be burning. It got to be hot. It says iron. On the physical level, we know that you need iron to girt yourself up. You don't go into war with a damn wooden sword. You go into war with an iron sword. Mm-hmm. And in the book of Ephesians, it gives you the list of spiritual armor, the armor of God. Them things is not made out of wood, it's made out of iron. Mm-hmm. Right? We got a spiritual garment we got to be covered with. It says, and salt. We know that we made a salt covenant. Right? We know that we are the salt of the earth. You can't live without salt. It says flour of wheat. What is flour of wheat? Bread. You have to have bread. It's a necessity of your life. Or you're going to starve. I didn't know how much bread or leavened bread I ate until last year on a feast of unleavened bread. I was like, I can't eat nothing. It ain't nothing out here for me. Mm-hmm. We eat bread with everything. You know, on my chicken, you know, I got the little bread around the chicken in the frying pan, burgers, chicken sandwiches,
bread crumbs.
everything. I eat a lot of stuff that got leaven in it. Go ahead, King.
And y'all know it's the spiritual aspect behind that. We don't know how much wickedness we do until we examine it. Until we look at it. We stop eating, leavened bread, and we like, damn, leaven is in everything.
Everything.
And then we stop doing wickedness, and it's like, damn, it's wickedness everywhere.
Woo! That's hot.
That's what it is.
That's banging. Huh?
Damn,
I don't know if that was him or the spirit.
That hit
That
my
was
spirit.
What? Hey,
Dang.
so look, it keeps going though. These are the principal things of life: water, fire, and iron, and salt, flour of wheat, honey. Honey. Hey, you eat a big meal. What do you need next? Something sweet. You need the honey. On the spiritual level, like it tells you in the book of Psalms, it tells you, hey, also in the book of Proverbs 13th chapter, it tells you honey represents wisdom. On the deeper level, it's sweet. Hey, when Aharon called me early in the morning or late at night, he'd be like, Ak, go to Sirach chapter 15. Or Ak, hey, King Herod in Matthew chapter 2. Look, this link, let me show you in Daniel real quick, because we was just going in there. It said in the 12 feathers, look, it's sweet. And every time he tell me, you know what I say?
That's it.
That's sweet. It's good to my taste, the water. The next thing it says, milk. On the fundamental physical level, as soon as a baby is born, it has to be weaned. It has to be nurtured. It has to be swaddled, and it has to have milk. If it don't have milk, it's not going to have the nutrients to grow and be a strong, healthy child. And when you come into this truth, it tell you, I think it's 1 Peter chapter 2, or it might be 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 2. It tell you, as newborn babes desire the what? The sincere milk of the word, so that you can grow thereby. Right? And then it says, and the blood of grape, and the blood of the grape. We know that, wine is, what is life without wine? It tell you, wine and music rejoice at the heart. On the spiritual level, wine is the deeper, it signifies the deeper things, the deeper wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the Bible. When you become of age, when you kind of, I'm 21 years old. I'm 20 years old. Let me see what this wine talking about. And if you drink too much of it all at once, you don't feel good. You got to drink it in due season at a reasonable rate,
Because if you drink too much wine, you become drunk and throw up. And you don't want to, you want to dive in too much stuff. The scriptures say, get what's needful for thee.
What's sufficient.
Yeah. It says a well-nurtured man will be he'll be sufficient with little to eat, basically.
That's Sirach chapter 30, I believe.
So you don't want to get too much of this, too much in the deep stuff, and then you vomit it all up and you only remember one thing about it. Like, damn, I can't even remember. You diving into 3 prophecies a day and you only remember half of one.
Hey,
it's like, that's unprofitable.
Very unprofitable. And we can't escape or bypass another thing that the wine signifies. Yahweh Shah, his blood. You have to drink of that cup. You have to. But make sure when you drink of it, you're worthy to drink of it. Because if you drink of Yahweh Shah's blood and you don't deserve it, and you partake in the Lord's Passover and you unworthily drinking of this cup and eating of his body, eating of his flesh, we're going to show you. But let me finish out this verse real quick. It says, and oil and clothing. We know what oil is. Oil has a lot of uses. In the Bible, we see the olive oil is used to keep lamps burning so that you can have light. It's also used to anoint your face. You would use this to make smell goods and fragrances, perfumes, Oil also represents wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, pursuant to Ecclesiastes chapter 8 and 1. And also to, I think it's Psalms chapter 104 and verse 15. Oil represents wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And then it says, and clothing. Clothing is a necessity of life. You gotta have clothing to stay warm. If not, you're gonna freeze over and die. Also, to hide your nakedness. Now, on a spiritual level, pursuing to Isaiah chapter 30:1, Genesis chapter 3, Revelation chapter 3, it tells you that clothing, if you don't have clothes on, you're naked, and naked means that you're in sin. You know, pursuant to the precepts already called out. You know, you got that one in Job. You know, you can't cover up with a covering that's not of the Most High God's. Make sure you got your spiritual clothing on. You know, you gotta have these things. These things are the principal things in life, and if you don't have them, you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it. So like, I know you had a powerful point. Go ahead, King. I was talking about the
drinking
blood.
Unworthily.
Con.
Drinking of the cup of Yahushua unworthily. That's damn near like going to make a sacrifice with the intention of doing something wicked again.
Don't do that.
You know, you don't want to come in here with a wicked mindset. You don't want to be that guy. It's just like, you know, I'm gonna commit wickedness anyway. I can't keep these laws anyway. You know, you coming in here, don't come to the Passover if you can't forgive a certain brother. You know, that's not what this is about. You don't want to drink the Yahushua's cup when he told you to forgive him 70 times 7. You don't want to be that guy. You know, you don't want to come in here hating your brother. How you gonna break bread with a man that you hate? You don't want to come in here and do that. You don't want to partake of the bread of Yahushua, breaking bread with the brother you hate still. Yahushua wasn't about that. You know, he broke bread with Judas and he knew he would betray him. And guess what? He still loved Judas. He still was cool with Judas. As soon as he seen Judas, he said, "Where art thou, my friend?" And he already told him, one of y'all gonna betray me. He knew what the deal was. Yahushua is not about that. You don't come to the Passover like what the brother said, with malice in your heart, with hatred in your heart, envying, strife. You want to be better than somebody. That's not what it's about. You come in a humble spirit. You come to actually, it's actually a low key, a little bit of a celebration. We finna get out of here. We finna leave Egypt. This is what it's about. I'm finna leave Egypt with my brothers and sisters that I love. Not I'm finna leave Egypt with this nigga I hate.
Right.
That's not what it's about. And plus, you don't want to trample over the blood of Yahushua like the bar was going into. You don't want to do that. This is not what that's about. This 2021 Passover is not what that's not how it's going this year.
That's not what we doing, man.
I will personally tell you don't come to my Passover if I know you're in malice or wickedness. If I know you're not trying to change, nah, you can't come. And that's me loving my brother. That's me being helpful to him. Like, nah, bro, you just
take this one out, King.
Yeah. Maybe make it to the next one. I mean, but I know how you get down. You don't sincerely mean that. You don't sincerely mean what you're saying right now. The scriptures say, "Who is he that slippeth not with his tongue?" If you don't mean it, that's fine. But you don't come to this Passover for your sakes.
Hey, I'm gonna keep going on this 1 Corinthians chapter 11. Verse 25. It says, "After the same manner also he took the cup when he had supped, saying, This cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as often as ye drink it in remembrance of me." Hey, so when you eating that bread, that unleavened bread, and you taking a sip of that wine, you need to be in the right frame of mind. You're not just eating it just cause. You're doing it in remembrance of the only begotten Son, Yahushua Mashiach, and what he did for us, the sacrifice he made for us and our nation. Right? So verse 26, "For as often as ye eat this bread and drink this cup, ye do show the Lord's death till he come. Wherefore, whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of the Lord unworthily shall be guilty of the body and blood of the Lord. So if you eaten of this bread and drinking of this cup unworthily, you're going to be guilty. You're going to be guilty. Every sip you take, every bite you take, you're going to be guilty of killing Yahweh by Hashem Mashiach Yahushua, man. You don't want to be, when Yahushua come back, he might, you killed me. You might, I didn't kill you. No.
Nigga, you did it.
Yeah. You drunk of that cup. You ate of my flesh, man. Verse 28. But let a man examine himself, and so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup. It says, but look, make sure you examining yourself. And after you examine yourself, if you be found worthy, then you eat of that bread and drink of that cup. It says, for he that eateth and drinketh unworthily, eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning the Lord's body. So you damning yourself if you drinking and eating of this Passover unworthily. For this cause, many are weak and sickly among you, and many sleep. For if we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged. But when we are judged, we are chastened of the Lord, that we should not be condemned with the world. Hey, so look, man, make sure you judging yourself. Hey, verse 31 says, for if we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged. Meaning, if you examine yourself and you purge out that leaven, if you examine yourselves, judging yourselves, critiquing yourselves, getting yourself in order, your household in order, your rib in order, your kids in order, whatever the case may be, and you purging all of that leaven, that malice, the wickedness, the sin out, you don't have to, the Lord don't have to do it. I would rather judge myself and get and purify myself and get myself in order rather than letting the Lord do it. Because if he judged me, I might not make the cut, man. It's going to be too late. Like, nah, you had enough time. I told you to judge yourself. You had the laws.
I gave you grace, man.
Right, I gave you grace. Oh, my. Everybody going to be holding their groin, holding their loins, you know, like, oh, my goodness. You know, so, look, man, he gave us grace. Hey, mercy, abounding in mercy, man. We got to make sure we're doing this in a godly mindset. Even if we fall short, man, make sure you doing it in the right mind. Don't just show up to the Passover because there's wine there or because you want to pull out your new garment. It's not a fashion show. It's okay to look nice. Con. It's a beautiful thing. Get clean. But you're not coming here just to stun on everybody. It's not a fashion show. All right. You got something, King?
No.
Captain the bar?
Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay, Con. Let's get First Ezra chapter 1. And I want to read, I want you to start at 1 and 19. First Ezra 1 and 19.
Okay. This is First Ezra chapter 1 and verse 19. So the children of Israel, which were present, held the Passover at that time, and the feast of sweet bread 7 days. And such a Passover was not kept in Israel since the time of the prophet Samuel. Yea, all the kings of Israel held not such a Passover as Josias, and the priests, and the Levites, and the Jews held with all Israel that were found dwelling at Jerusalem.
Keep going.
In the 18th year of the reign of Josias was this Passover kept. And the works of Josias were upright before his Lord with an heart full of goodness.
With the heart full of what?
Salakia, godliness.
Con. And the key point I wanted to make here, first to give you a little history and show you that Josias, he was a righteous king, and he held a beautiful, beautiful Passover. A beautiful Passover. And one of the things that was documented or recorded is the works of Josiah were upright before his Lord with a heart full of godliness. He had a heart full of godliness. He was trying to do it the best way he could do it.
Circumcised.
Right? His heart was circumcised. He purged out the leaven, man. and he served the Most High God in truth and sincerity. It's another precept I was looking for. Salakia, man, it was a good one too. But let's get 2 Chronicles chapter 30. What Hezekiah? 30 and 17.
This is 2 Chronicles chapter 30 and verse 17.
Let's see. Let's just jump down to 21.
Con. 2 Chronicles chapter 30 and verse 21. And the children of Israel that were present at Jerusalem kept the feast of unleavened bread 7 days with great gladness. And the Levites and the priests praised the Lord day by day, singing with loud instruments unto the Lord. And Hezekiah spake comfortably unto all the Levites that taught the good knowledge of the Lord, and they did eat throughout the feast 7 days, offering peace offerings and making confession to the Lord God of their fathers.
Hey, so the reason why I wanted to go to this, if you go up a little bit before, it showed you that some of the men, some of the other Israelites from the different tribes, it was a whole bunch of men who wasn't actually cleansed according to the clean laws, the unclean and clean laws, right? They wasn't actually purified, but Hezekiah prayed for them. Man, you might as well go to 17. So like your king.
This is 2 Chronicles 30 and 17. For there were many in the congregation that were not sanctified. Therefore the Levites had the charge of the killing of the Passover.
Because you're supposed to kill your own Passover, your own lamb, but they wasn't purified, so they had the Levites do it. Come on.
For every one that was not clean to sanctify them unto the Lord. For a multitude of the people, even many of Ephraim and Manasseh, Issachar, and Zebulun had not cleansed themselves, yet did they eat the Passover otherwise than it was written. But Hezekiah prayed for them, saying, the good Lord pardon everyone that prepareth his heart to see God.
And look, this is why I wanted to go to the scripture. Not to give you a pass to be wicked and unclean and to show up to the Passover, of course. You're going to get gunned down. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to get cut down. And I'm not showing y'all this so you can make an excuse. I'm showing you this for a reason in particular. Go back to 18 and read from, but Hezekiah prayed for them.
It says, but Hezekiah prayed for them, saying, the good Lord pardon everyone.
Why is the good Lord going to pardon all of them? Come on.
That prepareth his heart to see God, the Lord God of his fathers, though he be not cleansed according to the purification of the sanctuary.
Hey, even though they wasn't cleansed according to the purification of the sanctuary, they prepared their heart to seek the Most High. They prepared their heart to see God and truth and sincerity. And if you show up to the Passover and you're not seeking the Most High God in truth and sincerity, are you still hating the brother? You know, everybody dealing with demons and fighting a battle. Hey, like Paul said, everybody got a thorn in the flesh, something that they just struggle with. But if you give over to those struggles, you let that struggle get the upper hand and win, and you let them win, don't show up to this Passover, man. Matter of fact, Captain DeBar, can you give me 2 Ezra chapter 7 and 56? Baba Kasha.
So I can come.
2 Ezra chapter 7 and verse 56.
This is 2 Ezra chapter 7, verse 56. It says, for while we lived and committed iniquity, we considered not that we should begin to suffer for it after death.
All of the sins that we committed, a lot of men think that they gonna get away with it and not have to suffer for it after death. And they got something coming to them. Come on.
God. Verse 57, then answered he me and said, this is the condition of the battle, which man that is born upon the earth shall fight.
Hey, the condition of the battle. What does that look like, King? The condition of the battle is you having a thorn in the flesh. You was born on earth. In sin, you was born in that. That's the condition of the battle. It don't feel fair. You going through all of this temptation. Hey, but the Most High God told you in the book of Sirach chapter 2, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, what you got to do? Prepare thy soul for temptation. That's the condition of the battle. Everybody got problems. Everybody dealing with something. But if you just give yourself over to that something and you let that demon have you and have his way with you, and it just hosts and have parties in your body and in the Most High God's temple, keep going, King. Keep reading.
God. Verse 57. It says, I'm gonna start at the top. It says, Then answered he me and said, This is the condition of the battle which man that is born upon the earth shall fight, that if he be overcome, he shall suffer as thou hast said.
And if you
But if
be overcome, if you be overcome with all them different demons and spirits, and you just give yourself over to that thorn in the flesh, to them problems that you having, if you give yourself over to it, you're gonna suffer just how the Most High God said. Come on.
But if he get the victory,
But if he get what?
the victory.
If
But
you
if he get the victory,
if you get the victory and you win that battle, and you don't give up, and you keep on fighting, and you endure until the very end when that last trumpet sound, if you get the victory, come on, King,
he shall receive the thing that I say.
you're gonna receive everlasting life. You're gonna receive the promises, the glory, the power, and you're gonna be found worthy to stand face to face with the Most High God's Son. You're gonna be a joint heir with Yahweh Shah. You're gonna have conversations with the 12 disciples. If you get the victory, you can talk to Moses. If you get the victory, you can eat with David. If you get the victory, you can share Proverbs with Solomon. If you get the victory, you're gonna have inheritance. If you get the victory, you can rule over your enemies. If you get the victory, you can have everything.
God.
But if you get overcome, if you be overcome and you lose that battle,
Great is the fall of that man.
great is the fall of that man.
Biggest L in eternity.
we can't lose. If we lose, it's over. You know how on a damn arcade game you lose and they be like, game over. Game over. But they be like, look, they be like, game over. But if you stick another quarter in there, you can continue.
Nah, it ain't that.
It ain't like that. If you lose, it's over with, it's done with, and it's finished. That's why we don't have no choice but to win.
God.
What DJ Khaled said, all we do is win no matter. Bro, we cannot lose, God. Man, we got the Most High God on our side. Hey, I never thought I'd pull Philippians 4:13. I never thought. Look, look, man. The Christians use this faithfully. Somebody grab me Philippians 4:13.
I got it.
God, put it out.
You said Philippians what?
4:13.
This is Philippians 4 verse 13, and it says, "I can do all things through Christ which strengthen me."
Man, we got Yahweh Shah on our side, and we can do all things through him.
God.
By him and for him, man. We have to get the victory just how he did. We have to, man. We have to get the victory, man. That's a beautiful thing, man. Man, let's put, if y'all can see me right now, I'm cheesing.
Same here, bro. Same here, bro.
We gotta get the victory, man.
Bro, we can't sell, bro.
Hey, right, get 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and 15 and 55, man. And we're gonna hey, Captain DeBar, do you got any precepts you want to pull out? Because I'm gonna wrap it up with this one, man.
No, that's all good. No, go ahead.
All right, Khan. Aharon.
Khan.
Bring us home, man.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 58.
Start at 55, King.
Khan, 1 Corinthians 15 and verse 55.
Start at 54.
Bro. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and 54.
Bring it out.
It says, so when this corruptible shall have put on incorruptible.
So when this wicked man put on righteousness,
and this mortal shall have put on immortality.
And this nigga that can die put on immortality and can never die.
Then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written.
The saying that was written, read that.
Death is swallowed up in victory.
Death is what?
death is swallowed up in victory.
Death is not a real thing to us because we got the victory. Come on.
It says, "O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory?"
We're going to laugh at the thought of death. We're going to mock death. We're going to become a scorner. We're going to say, "Oh, death, where is thy sting? Oh, grave, where is thy victory?" Because you can't hurt me. You can't do nothing against me. I got power over you. I'm the only one who can kill. You can't kill me. Come on.
It says the sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law.
And we're not going to be able to sin. We're going to be moving in the spirit. It's not going to be a real thing for Israelites to sin. Come on.
But thanks be to God, which giveth us the victory through our Lord.
And thanks be to who?
Thanks be to God, which give us the victory through our Lord.
And we can get the victory through Yahushua Mashiach, man. Come on.
Through our Lord Yahushua Mashiach. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast.
Be ye steadfast. Come on.
Unmovable.
What?
Unmovable.
Come on.
Always abounding in the work of the Lord.
And always abounding in the work of the Lord. Come on.
It says, for as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord.
So all of the work that we putting in, and it's more work to be done than just going live on YouTube or going out there on the highways and byways. Like I tell all the ladies in SOJ, it's more ways to do the work of the Most High God than being out there on them lawns. Hey, as a woman, it's plenty. It's a plethora of work to be done. Like I tell my wife.
God.
It's so much to this truth than just you teaching. Hey, it's better for you not to teach and actually be doing the things that's taught. It's a lot of work to be done, man. So make sure you're abounding in the work of the Lord, because you know that these labors is not going to go in vain, right? Let me grab one more precept, man. This is Sirach chapter 43 and 30. It says, when you glorify the Lord, exalt him as much as ye can, for even yet will he far exceed. And when you exalt him, put forth all your strength, and be not weary, for ye can never go far enough. And of course, with that, we're going to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Hamashiach, Yahushua. Like General Hezekiah always say, never forget, death to America. Shalom wa barak mashbakah. Shalom.
Khan. Shalom.
Yahweh Ba'ashem, Mashiach Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, Shalom wa Barak Mashpaka.